This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, Rusty back here with your latest Meteo Mundo forecast for this Monday, November the 20th. And friends, despite what the calendar says being late November, if you look behind me, we actually have two areas of potential tropical development for the week ahead, one in the Atlantic and one in the Caribbean. So coming up in this forecast, we'll obviously look very extensively at both of those areas. I've got the potential rain forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas as well. But I do want to start off this video with what happened in the Dominican Republic on Saturday from that disturbance that we were monitoring over the weekend. So I want you to look at some of the video that came in from social media. This is from Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic on Saturday. And this is just horrifying to see. Look at the flash flooding that happened in Santo Domingo from that disturbance. You are talking about a road turned into a river, fast-moving river, that's just pushing those cars around like they're toys. We had reports of extensive flooding in Santo Domingo. There's a report of a retaining wall that fell off of a thoroughfare and crushed some cars. Unfortunately, the latest that I've seen is at least 21 people lost their lives from the flooding in the Dominican Republic. And it wasn't just Santo Domingo. There were other areas of the Dominican Republic that saw extensive flash flooding as well. But that is just devastating to see. It really is. Look, it's one of the main reasons why I've been doing this for 25 years, to try and get the messaging out ahead of some of these storms. So I hope everyone who has been watching this from the Dominican Republic is doing okay. I know at least one of our followers said that they lived in that area. We hope the best for you. Please give us an update. Let me know how you're doing. Anyone else who lives in that area. But obviously all of our thoughts and prayers is with everyone in the Dominican Republic. And again, there's still a lot of high water in this area as of now, but that's rough to see, no doubt about it. So again, if you have any pictures or video that you want to send us either from there or other areas, you can always email at mymeteomundo@gmail.com. Of course, we're across social media as well. And part of the reason why we show these videos is to simply, give the actual video proof of what happened. We talk about this a lot, but you saw that devastation there. So again, you can follow us at all those other areas on social media. It's tough to see, it really is. But again, I want to be clear, that flooding occurred not from a tropical depression and not from a tropical storm, from that disturbance. It never fully formed. I mentioned how it didn't really matter. It's going to be about the rain, and unfortunately it concentrated in the Dominican Republic on Saturday. So we now have two more areas we have to talk about. Now, the first one in the Atlantic is going to be moving into the open waters. I'm not really concerned about that one. We do have, though, another area in the Caribbean. We have an Invest 99L. Now, first of all, I want you to notice it's very broad and disorganized, okay? It's moving off towards the west, and once again, this disturbance is not going to be about the potential for it to become a depression or a tropical storm. It's about the amount of rain it could bring to portions of the Caribbean as we go through the week. At this point in time, actually, we've had a nice blow up of storms, and it's been a very wet day across Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. They've had really steady, at times heavier rain across the islands, so it's wet there. Thankfully, this moisture is just east of the Dominican Republic, and although I can't rule out a couple of showers near the coast, I think this really heavy moisture axis stays off just towards the east there. You can see some of that rain kind of sneaking to portions of the Virgin Islands and the northern Leeward Islands, but really it's been more extensive over Puerto Rico for today, and your rain chance will begin to fade beginning for tomorrow. But again, back over to this Invest area, and it is an Invest, so we actually do have some tropical models we'll take a look at. Now, I want you to notice that the motion says it's moving east. It's not really moving much. If anything, it's kind of meandering off towards the west, and we'll look at some of the computer models. But again, we had a nice flare-up of showers and storms just west of that broad center, and then this elongated moisture axis to the north and to the east. So let's take a look first of all. Because this is an Invest, we actually do have some of the tropical models running. So let me throw those on. Now, I want you to notice there's a couple of the models that bring it north towards Hispaniola. We can discount those for now because there's a lot of drier air to the north. Generally speaking, I think this is going to try and move off towards the west. Now, no model, GFS, NAM, European model, no model has this really becoming anything. not becoming a tropical depression, not becoming a tropical storm. So again, this one is going to be about where it's headed and the amount of rain that it could potentially bring. The overall atmospheric conditions really aren't that very conducive for development, even though the Hurricane Center again has put on a little area. As a matter of fact, if I show you the upper level water vapor imagery here, again, a nice blow up of moisture near that broad disturbance. But when I zoom this out, you're going to see a ton of drier air in the northern side of the Caribbean. It's a little bit more moisture laden south and west, which is kind of why I think this is going to just kind of follow that moisture axis west. But again, it's something we're going to have to monitor. And even behind it, again, you had this nice moisture flare up with some of the heavier rain over Puerto Rico and portions of the Virgin Islands for today. But the biggest thing is we got to keep the rain away from Hispaniola, and hopefully this tracks off towards the west. So let's take a look at some of the potential rainfall areas here. Going to put the model into motion. We'll actually start off with the NAM model here. And again, just over the next 4 days, again, we're going to see this moisture move west. Now, I want you to notice this doesn't wrap up into anything, and really the models are just beginning to pick up on the fact that we have an invest and a little bit more moisture here in the central Caribbean, because you're not going to see a lot on any of the models as far as even rainfall goes. So real quickly, let's zoom into what's happening here in the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And again, the good news is not a lot of shower activity. It may not be completely dry, but is it the kind of rain that I think is going to lead to additional flooding? At this point in time, the answer is no. I think that moisture stays off to the south of the Dominican Republic and Haiti for the most part. So that's good news, at least. Decent piece of information. For Jamaica, again, scattered rain there. I'm going to up your rain chance beginning on Wednesday, but still at this point in time, outside of some tropical downpours coming in with the broad disturbance, nothing looks to be very concentrated over Jamaica at this point in time, and it would be the same for the Cayman Islands. I think the rain chance goes up in Georgetown and West End later in the week. But again, are we looking at something that could be very significant? No, not at this point in time. And look, even the NAM model doesn't bring a lot of rain to the Southwest Caribbean or to Central America. There will be some scattered rain there late in the week for Panama and portions of Costa Rica towards Nicaragua and Honduras, but not a lot. If we look over at the GFS model, so what I'm basically saying is that despite the fact that the Hurricane Center has that area of interest right now, the models really aren't showing a ton of rain to go along with it as of yet. As of yet. That again is something I'm going to watch all week long. We can see, though, the general progression of the moisture from east to west, which is why I'm discounting right now anything that tries to lift this system north. Again, it doesn't mean it's not going to be, there will be a few showers for Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, but again, the core of this moving north seems to be somewhat implausible at this point in time. So again, late in the week, you can see here as we get into Wednesday and then Thursday, we'll get a little bit more rain developing here, especially as we get into Friday. So let's take a look at some of those areas. Again, nothing very concentrated though. At this point in time for Panama City, we'll see some showers cropping up in the afternoon hours. And you can just see basically right along the spine of some of the higher terrain there through Costa Rica, we'll get some scattered showers, but there's nothing very organized, even towards Belize City and San Pedro Sula and Tegucigalpa. So the models are kind of in discongruity right now with the Hurricane Center trying to spin this up. But again, it's something we'll closely monitor. If we take a look at the total precipitation out of the GFS model here over the next 5 days. So let me extend this out. Again, a little bit of a moisture axis offshore here off of the Nicaraguan and Honduras coastline. But even those areas are a couple of inches of rain at this point in time. For the Dominican Republic, again, an area that we have to be very concerned about, maybe another 1/4 inch of rain, we can handle that, all right? And you can just clearly see, where the bulk of the precipitation with this disturbance is going. And at this point in time, it's staying offshore, and then we'll have to watch down into portions of Central America. Couple of inches of rain for Panama City, same thing on over towards San Jose, and then up the coastline again later in the week. Where does this heavier rain go? Right now for Cancun and Belize City, all looks pretty good. So that is a big story, something I'm going to continue to monitor there. Now, let's take a look at the European model, and I'll take myself off camera. Just take a look at that area. What you're going to see is nothing developing. There is no closed center of circulation. and none of the models are showing that. And by the way, this is the ensemble product. So all 50 members of the European model are displayed here, and you see absolutely none of them are showing any actual low developing. So again, it's not going to be about a depression or a storm. It's going to be about the potential for rain that all of this moisture brings. Now, the other area to monitor off of this old frontal boundary, we've had some decent winds over Bermuda for today, and this could become a hybrid system in the central Atlantic. But again, this is in the open waters. When we take a look here at the potential for the, let me switch on over to, let's see here. I'm going to go here, but I'm going to come back out here. And when I switch this over to the wind, it's going to be a wind maker more than anything. But again, it's going to be a wind maker in open waters. Now, it doesn't mean that Bermuda, again, won't see some breezier conditions, but notice how this spins up and moves off towards the east. Now, again, it's late November, so we get cold fronts coming off of the United States East Coast that could whip up some winds and some gale conditions near Bermuda as well. But as far as any tropical system, again, if this were to even wrap up, it's going to be in the open waters of the Atlantic, moving away from anyone. So even though that one's an orange area with a medium chance of development, I'm not concerned there. And again, GFS model, right? Can be sometimes very aggressive with these systems. It's not showing anything in the Caribbean. So it's about the rain, my friends. It's about the rain for sure. Okay, let's talk about the rain in the rest of our area here for the week ahead. So I'm going to switch this over. And as I do so, thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing. Again, you know, one of the things is, you know, we are new here to YouTube, and some people just don't know about us. So if you knew anyone who was impacted by this disturbance, they maybe don't even know that we exist. Let them know that we are a resource that they can turn to, and, you know, leave it up to them if they would like to view us or subscribe. But again, we appreciate you guys just passing along, you know, that we are here as a resource for forecasting in the Caribbean and the Bahamas. So looking at the forecast over the next 5 days, again, we've mentioned this system here. For my friends in Puerto Rico, rain chances will continue to be high today and tomorrow. And I've got some 5-day forecasts coming up at the end of this video as well. But again, I expect your rain chances to fade there. Same thing for the British Virgin Islands, the Leeward Islands, Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia. Isolated rain, but not a lot of rain there over the next several days. Again, with the moisture being pulled away, we could see some localized downpours in Trinidad and Tobago. But again, overall rain chances look to be relatively low. So kind of for the Lesser Antilles, it's many dry hours and locations. Even for the ABC Islands, you're closer to that disturbance, obviously, but spotty rain at best here. I've mentioned it again, that outside of where that disturbance is trying to develop a bit, or at least throw in some moisture, the air around it is relatively dry. So you're just not seeing anything very concentrated. Now, we could see a little bit more rain for portions of the Turks and Caicos over the week ahead. And then for our friends in the Northwest Bahamas, it's probably going to be the wettest forecast, because there will be a cold front coming in through the peninsula of Florida. Now, there may be some rain on Wednesday, okay, ahead of Thanksgiving, but there would be a better chance for some rain Saturday, with another system coming through the peninsula of Florida on Friday and then into Saturday. So as a matter of fact here, because I could do that, let's just extend it out a couple more days and we'll take a look at what I'm talking about here. So a little bit of rain on maybe Wednesday, hopefully drying out Thursday. And then on Friday, you'll start to see again more rain into the picture across the peninsula of Florida here. And it's just how much of that will actually drift into the Bahamas. A lot of it might stay just to the north, but for places like Walker's Key and Grand Bahama and the Abaco area, there's certainly the opportunity for a little bit more rain early in the week. That's something that I'm going to be monitoring very closely. And then for the Yucatan, again, we'll have some rain coming through the Gulf of Mexico. This could spell some rain there, mainly on the western side of the Yucatan. So again, could be a little bit drier for places like Cancun and Cozumel, if maybe you have any plans there for the week ahead. I'm not expecting a ton of rain right now, but one caveat, if you will, to this entire forecast is that we really don't have, I think, a good pickup of the models yet on this invest area. So I do expect it overall to end up being wetter in the Western Caribbean than what the models are showing at this point in time. All right, so let's look at some of these 5-day forecasts. For San Juan, again, the rest of this Monday, rain, 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 and more rain. Could it lead to a little bit of isolated flooding? Yes. Is it an overall big concern of mine? No. Still a 50% chance for scattered showers on your Tuesday. Then we do begin to dry out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday late into the week, and daytime highs actually will remain very comfortable. They'll be in the lower 80s. For my friends in Kingston, again, spotty rain Monday, Tuesday. I've then upped your rain chance mid to late week up to 50%, but it really is very dependent on the potential development of that invest area. So at this point in time, I put in a 50% chance for scattered showers. With daytime highs, that will remain in the upper 80s. Okay, friends, look for my next forecast update early on Tuesday morning. I'm going to have the latest on that invest area. I'll keep you covered. I promise you that. So make sure, again, you tune in early on Tuesday. The easiest way to know when we do these forecast updates is by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Thank you, friends, for tuning in. I'll see you very shortly right here at Meteo Mundo.